Your first fight with the Zuma Nelson. What do you remember about that fight or getting the call to fight there in Mexico City against the Zuma Nelson the first time?
Well, I mean, for one, I was so damn happy because professionally, I hadn't fought. I never fought in Mexico, and what better than to fight for the world title there and fight like a Zuma Nelson. So I thought, well, great, I'll get to win the fight, and but after all is said and done, regardless of the outcome, losing the fight by 1 point and the way that I lost to Zuma, so I was in that as I felt that I won the fight, but just the way the fight went, I was pretty happy with myself, regardless of the outcome. And it was something sort of unbelievable because I've been like to football stadiums and I've seen so many people, but in this situation, this time, Albert, I mean, there was, you couldn't count how many people there were because there were so many people. I know, I heard that like, there was like 130,000 something people over that. So that's, that's something that maybe you'll never see it again in boxing. That's a lot of people. That was definitely one of the all-time best moments of my life. Like I said, regardless of the outcome.
When you were going through the drapes that day to go onto the ring, what do you remember about the crowd and how crazy 140,000 people were?
Gosh, well, just going over to the arena like a few hours before, I remember going there. There were already like 60,000 people outside, like getting inside, and it was hard for them to take me indoor to the arena itself, to like the dressing room, because it was just so crowded. There were so many policemen, so many. I mean, even in our hotels, there were so many for. So I don't know if they received bomb threats or anything, but they were just making sure that, especially the fighters, that were well taken care of and then washed after. When I would go run, if we do my morning runs in the morning, policemen would be after, like of course not after me, but sort of guarding me where they didn't have to do that. We were sort of my trainer Joe and myself and other fighters that were with me. We would try to just lose them because we wanted sort of like some privacy, but someone was always watching us for our protection, of course. I just felt because at that time they were just saying that it was pretty bad out there. I was like, please, I'm from Mexico. I know my way around, even though I had never been in the city. I just thought, oh, please, I'm Mexican, so I can get around. But they're like, no, just people over there, they would just tell us, no, you guys gotta hang with these guards, with you guys, because you never know. But it was just, sort of like I never been a movie star, but I sort of feel like maybe that's the way movie stars feel, like being with someone, watching or following them all the time. And so I felt like, please, I'm from Mexico. I don't need that. So that's why we always try to evade the security guards, stuff like that. Just everything else, it was just like top level, I would say. Duncan did a great job, I think, on that promotion because we were very, I think most of us were very happy until obviously the end.
Being from Mexico, how proud were you going in there, seeing your people, going into your town, fighting on a big card like this? How proud did you feel being a Mexicano, fighting on that particular night?
Well, I was very, very proud. For one, obviously, because it was my first time fighting in Mexico, and being Mexican, and most Mexicans, most Latin people, they didn't. They thought I was from the States, from California. They thought I was probably just born from Mexican parents. But once they knew that, I told them that I was born over there. I was from Jalisco. And then, a lot of times I would, sort of have my little arguments with Mexicans over there because they would tell me I wasn't Mexican. I would sort of argue with them, tell them that in my book they were Mexicans to me. I said, because, you guys are like off from the city. This is just like the United States here in comparison. I said, I come from the mountains. I'm like from, so to me, I was sort of, made me feel good that I told them that I had it harder growing up. Just proud
The last bell rings after the 12th round, and he goes up to you to give you a hug, and you just throw your arms in the air. You didn't want to hug him back. Was there real tension between you and Azuma, and why?
No, there wasn't at all. It was just, just you're up there, you're like a different person. Once that bell rings, you're a different person. It's sort of unexplainable because you have to be in that situation. Not only be a fighter, but it is very different even for fighters. Because we all know that once that bell rings, then it's sort of like another person that takes over your body.
Back in Mexico, after the fight happened, after your fight with Azuma Nelson happened, did you go out to the crowd to watch the main event, or did you stay in the locker room or in the back, or did you go home after?
No, I went to watch that. I don't know who else was fighting, but obviously, you don't have that much time because we have to go do the physicals after the fight, the doctors, shower and all that stuff, the media, TV, radios. It takes a long time, so you barely really don't have time, and then you go eat right away, regardless, like I said, of the outcome, it sort of felt like a victory, so we were still going to have a good time, especially being in Mexico, seeing some relatives of mine that some I had just met there because they went to see me fight, and some I had not seen in many years. I really doubt that in my lifetime that will happen again.
Your rematch with the Zuma Nelson, of course, was different. That was your first fight back after the Jimmy Garcia thing.
Yeah.
How do you think did that make a difference in your psyche, what mentally you were going through?
Oh, that's what I think that caused me to lose the fight. I think maybe I still suffer from that. I was how do I say it? In my mind, it was sort of something that I needed. I said to get therapy throughout the years, and by that time I never went to get treated for that matter. I was in trauma when I went in the ring, and I thought I saw Jimmy Garcia in the other corner, and just a whole bunch of trauma. I guess things that happen. They say that it happens to police officers or people that are in sort of those fields where they sometimes kill people. And then when they're out there in the field again, they have memories or they come back to them sometimes when they encounter similar situations again. And me, myself, when I would be sparring, it wouldn't bother me. But then when I got in the ring, all of a sudden, here it came. That's what I believe it was. And I sort of made myself sick the day of the fight because, I was like the day before I was fine. And then the day of the fight in the morning, my stomach started hurting me. I started throwing up a lot. I had temperature also. And I thought for a second of pulling the fight off, but I thought, my God, I think that was like my only like big boxing card where I was the main event. That I can't stop the ball from rolling, especially because I was so tired, Albert, of doing so many interviews, so much stuff with the press for Jimmy Garcia's family. It's like every interview was like about him or something about him or his family. That it's like fight day, I feel like I was fighting Jimmy because they hardly ever mentioned Azuma Nelson. I mean, they did it, but it wasn't there with me. It was all about some of the proceeds, and I'm going to help, and I'm going to do this, and just everything. Most of the interviews were about Jimmy. How I was doing after what happened, and just in a way disrespectful for both parties, for Jimmy and for Azuma. For Azuma, he probably knew that I wasn't going to take him. Like he was a tough opponent, and maybe that I was overlooking him, and then on Jimmy's part that I went in there the way that I did. But I thought I was helping.
You took it after only 7 months, and there's a lot of people that had big layoffs after something like that. You took on a great fighter, of course, a professor himself, Zuma Nelson, just 7 months after. Of course, just looking at the record, losing by TKO, knowing that Zuma Nelson was more of a technician. He usually won decisions, and he won by knockout. You know that there was something that was different there.
No, I honestly never felt, and to this day, I don't. Even with Gotti, I don't feel like I was knocked out. I mean, I feel that they stopped it too soon. Myself knocked out. I mean, it's like when you're unconscious and all that, or you can't continue anymore. But that fight with Azuma, I was very sick, very sick. I could barely walk in the ring. Whether I made myself sick, psychologically or whatever it is, I was not nowhere near, you know,
How were you as a person from when you woke up to when you went to sleep on a day through your eyes during that time?
it was so hard. I mean, even if like as I say it, it's not like that because it's like you have to go through it. Like I can tell you, I mean, it was I lost a loved one. Like he was my family.
Did you eat well? Did you not eat? Did you find
Hard
yourself
to
talking to yourself? Did you sleep a lot? Did you not sleep?
I mean, it was pretty hard to sleep. I couldn't stop thinking about really his family more than him, especially because he was in the hospital like for a few days. He didn't just instantly die. He was in the hospital. So all those days in the hospital, that's when I would think about his family a lot, how he's doing it. Be telling my wife to go to the hospital to find out how he was doing all the time, and just like I was just waiting there, just waiting to what news I was gonna hear. But because at first I didn't think he was gonna die. I didn't think so, and then I mean, I can't even explain it really in words because other than when someone loses a loved one, that was very similar situation.
Did you become close to any one of his relatives or keep in touch with any relatives thereafter?
They're the ones that call me. A year or two goes by, and they keep. Some of them are my Facebook friends. Jimmy's dad is my friend, and one of his sisters, Gloria. But they just send me some messages, just tell me that it wasn't my fault or anything. Because for years I felt I carried that guilt. Actually, I felt that I'll never find what I needed to sort of feel released from that weight that I had since that fight, that guilt. And I thought maybe that in this lifetime I would never feel that sort of freedom. I found that through the book that was written about me. It's called The Business of Pain, which is becoming or some. I think it's already out there in Spanish, but I have problems with the writer.
Gabriel, you went on and actually after Azuma Nelson, you fight and you got your victories. You fight Arturo Gatti, or you get note that you're going to fight Arturo Gatti. How did you feel about that fight, knowing that you're going to fight a great fighter?
Well, that's someone that I liked. I really how he fought, and I liked that he came to fight. At that time, he didn't box a lot. He just came out to trade punches, which is like what I like doing. Not that great. I don't have to chase him in the ring. Thought just he had a name, and I thought he had a lot of following. I thought what better than go beat him in his own house, which was Atlantic City. So it was a great fight, but also I felt, of course, I felt stopped too soon. But like I said, oh well, I thought I would get the rematch, and never got it. Never got it.
You guys had fight of the year in only 5 rounds of a fight. Like you said, it was stopped prematurely, but yet it was fight of the year. So that shows that you still had heart in this game and you were still willing to go for it. How did you deal with all the stress and all the hurt and all the pains like during that time? How did you face it on a daily basis? How did you deal with that?
It's very hard, in a way. Sometimes it felt therapeutic because I would speak about it. I'll get it out of my chest, but not fully. But it would help me a bit. But then again, not awful, but not good. When most of the people recognize you for killing someone. I go anywhere, even to this day. I mean, it's pretty rare when if I go a few days without someone to this day without someone saying something about Jimmy Garcia. So it's like I'm sort of like stuck with that name. Like that wasn't enough what happened.
Was your close ones there for you? Family, friends, fans during that time, or anybody in the media? Was anybody there for you like 100% of the time? Why did you feel alone?
Well, it's just I felt alone because I guess I wanted to be in my own misery. I guess I didn't want anyone to help me, to sort of give me some sort of guide, to looking for a better way to move on with this. Like my wife would suggest to me almost with a few times she took me to a therapist in the sense that it's like she made me go. She would go with me. but I was very stubborn. I wouldn't listen. I was I don't need this. I don't believe in this. So I would go there just to waste their time because I wasn't there in my mind. I was just upset. I was I was mad. I felt alone having so many people on me at the same time because I just felt like you have no idea what I'm going through. So you might have watched me fight, or you might be my brother or my sister. I mean, even my wife, I would tell her, you don't know what I'm going through. And, so it hurt her a lot because she's the only one that saw, she lived with me. So she saw me going through it all. And I'm sure it hurt her a lot that even she felt like
you were distancing yourself from her and all that.
Yes. I wanted to get away from everyone because I felt like I was the only one. And I only thought that maybe people that would understand me would be fighters that they had the similar thing happen to them. They knew what I was going through. But then I thought, well, they know what I'm going through, so why do I have to? I didn't believe that by talking about it would help me feel better. I didn't believe that would help me. That's why I was just stubborn, I sort of am that way.
I'm so close to your brother Rafael, of course. Are you that close to him? Was he there for you like during this time?
Well, it's just, we're very close in a way, but yet again, at the same time, we're like night and day, grew up doing the same thing and chasing the same dreams, but he's very different. Yeah, different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
Like where, it's just hard. A couple of sisters or brothers would say, well, talk about Jimmy, and then my brother would say, Rafa, that's just who he is. He would just say, hey, you'll get better. It's just something that happens. That's fine. Just, it's like almost saying, just get over it. And that's not that. That's just how he is. Very straightforward, regardless.
His mom, and when you saw her in the hospital, and how she said she didn't want to touch your hands because whatever.
Yeah, it reminded her that I killed her son.
Yeah, and that's a harsh thing to say to somebody that
anybody
really
someone that did that to their kid, and I think that really she's the one that put the pain that I had in there.
Is she still like that with you, or has she changed?
No, I haven't. You know what? I've never spoken with her. I have spoken with her daughters, but like again, this book that was written about me, she did an interview sort of saying that that it wasn't my fault. I just couldn't speak with her back then. A few years ago, I couldn't speak with her on the phone, which is around the time when I realized that I was very sick. That this was bothering me, affecting me a lot because one day. Being on the phone with her daughter, I could hardly speak. I lost my voice. I couldn't breathe, and I knew that I needed help, but yet I never went and got it. So
it affected you in the long
run. It affected me in the long run. It took a lot of years just by holding on to it by myself. Like a lot of times, I would just make people believe that I was okay. That I was dealing with it fine, but yet I was sort of embracing it by myself, just hiding it from everyone, from my family, from my wife, and I would go to therapy and just even lie to the therapist, and tell them that I was fine, that I was over it, but yet I don't know why. I was just holding on to myself. I just felt like no one in the world knows what I'm going through or how I feel or what it feels when the mother of this person tells you that you killed her son, and I don't know why.
Because of how you feel of all this, does that take away what you think of your career in boxing?
I'm happy because I did win the title by when I won the world title. I can die in peace now because that's something that I dreamed of, and that's something that I wanted to. I never dreamed or wished that like I was rich. I wish I would have, but all that I just wanted to be a world champion, win the title. I won that, and Jimmy's fight, it takes away from years that I think I could have continued on in boxing, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. If I had to do it again, I would do the same thing, because it's out of my control, like the way Jimmy trained or the way any other opponent trained. fight me, it was out of my hands. It's like that's why we have responsibilities that we have to do. Just like the cutman, just like the cornerman, just like the promoter. Everyone, I did my part. I just felt in this case, I felt Jimmy and his side. The corner didn't do their part. Make sure they was perfectly fit to go into that fight.
And what would you say was your biggest strength as a boxer as far as you as an athlete?
Gosh, I don't know. I was just lucky really to have that talent that I had. I didn't really have to train that hard as like my brother had to. I think I had more of a God-given talent than my brother. My brother, he was born to be in school, be a lawyer or someone because he was so smart. I was street smart. My brother was school smart. I don't know. I just think, of course, I trained hard, but not like a fighter. I think like a normal person would have to because it just came to me. Like boxing, it just a lot of times I didn't want to hit fighters. I didn't feel bad for them, sorry for them. I just didn't because I looked at it like an art, like a drawing that I was drawing, and because I felt like I could see every punch. I felt like I could see the way the fighter was moving, and I could get away from the punches. A lot of times, I'll be in a fight, and guys would barely touch me, and I would come to a corner, and I would tell Joe, because people would get excited and clap and everything because the fighters would throw a whole bunch of punches and couldn't touch me. But then I would not make them pay for it. So that's when my trainer would get mad at me in the corner. He would just say, Joe would say, come on, Gabe, stop playing around. And to me, I like doing that. I thought, wow, I want to show them that this guy can't hit me. I'll be right in front of him, but he can't hit me. But yet I would make them pay. So I just had more of a natural ability, God-given. I was lucky to have that. And that kept me from working as hard as I should have, I think.
And probably like a question you've heard a million times. Who would you say was your toughest opponent?
I always say, because they ask me this question, people ask me all the time. I always say different. Sometimes I say Agati, sometimes I say someone else, and sometimes there are some sparring partners that I trained with. They were sort of like world champions in the gym. There's some fighters out there that never reach their dream or goal, but yet they're called gym fighters, and they're very good fighters. So some of those guys there, man, they're world champions. But out there as far as champions, I'd have to say I'm gonna say Zuma Nelson.
What was your favorite place to box in?
Probably Vegas, because after the fight we would stay there like for a day or two and just enjoy it there with the family.
Now, that book that you talk about that was written about you, would it be a book that you would tell people to go read, or would you tell them not to read it because of how, she stole your story or took it from you?
Well, Albert, it's a great book. It's a great story. It's just that there's consistencies there that they're not rightly written, the right times and places. But she wrote a very good story. It's just that she sort of misplaced times and dates. She sort of added some stuff that I never said, and she never gave me a chance to read the book before it went out for print because, we had a disagreement before the book was even, well, actually the book was finished, but we had to check the book and then fix all the words and all that stuff, and I never got to see the book. I just read a lot of pages of it, but I never saw the actual book, which she told me that I would get to see it and check all the things that needed to be fixed. And next thing I know that she's out in a book tour, but right before that she told me that she owned my life rights. I was like, how can you own my life rights? And she told me that I signed a contract for her. At that time I was drinking a lot. I became an alcoholic when I was helping her with the book. It's something that for a while it made me feel good. Maybe I feel like it helped me deal with all the stuff that I was going through, my divorce, the stuff with Jimmy Garcia, just a lot of problems that I was going through. And I just felt that she took an opportunity, and I felt very I feel that she did me very, very wrong. Where I had no knowledge of contracts or anything like that. Like boxing is different than writing a book. I gave her all my confidence.
So again, if when I first
Like
heard about
people
the
to go
book,
out there and buy it? No, I would not until I'm behind it right now. I have an attorney trying to speak with her, attorneys to come to an agreement because it is really my book. But I guess now she never followed boxing. Now that she wrote the book,
it's not just your book, it's your name, it's your story, it's
of course. But now to protect herself, now she's saying because there's so many other fighters that she wrote about, very little though about. Now she's saying it's about a lot of fighters, so it'll probably help her maybe in court. If we have to go that far, not just about me.
Is she giving percentages to all these other fighters that she supposedly is writing about?
I don't think so because I don't think so. I mean, but like I said, when you see the book, I'm sure you'll get a book. It's mostly about myself. I mean, believe it or not, Albert, I don't know if I told you, but they had a book fair here at the convention center, I don't know, about a couple months ago when the book came out in Mexico, and they brought it out here in Spanish, and I went and bought like 5 books myself. I went there, and they had a picture of myself there and some big gloves, and they said, and some people that were buying books, obviously, I did take pictures with them. I read most of the book. It's very good, but like I said, it was done without my permission. Yet she went with some signatures that she said I signed. And, unfortunately, it's happening to me, but, I mean, I'm just trying to get help out there because I feel this is, obviously, this is a fight that, I have no experience in. And, unfortunately for her, though, I feel that she came to boxing fans where I feel that they are my people. It's like she doesn't know. I guess she has no idea how. Like how many years. I mean, now she knows obviously, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know what we go through as fighters. Because I know she talks about fighters being taken advantage and all that stuff, but yet she's taking advantage of myself. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'm not going to support her. I know that she sold. Friends of mine, when they ask her why am I not there at the promotions, she's always saying that I'm busy or I'm occupied doing something else. She never says how it is.
If any of your sons wanted to box themselves or become a boxer and follow in his father's footsteps, from your experiences and what you've been through, what would you advise him, or would you be for him to do that, or would you try to get him away from doing that?
No, I was very fortunate and lucky. I had a great career, but I came from a place where I didn't know any better. I didn't have education. I didn't have opportunities like I had them here. My kids were born here, my boys, and I would not that I would help them, but I would keep them from becoming fighters. I would I would make them if I could do something else because this is a very, very lonely sport. This is a very hard career. You have to give it your all. And at the end of your career or at the end of the day, you're only going to be left with wear and tear that most of us are going to regret. And now, I mean, I'm coming up with stuff that, and I'm going on 42, and it's gotta be because of fighting. I mean, there's stuff that I'll forget. It's not normal. I know because I didn't feel like this before. I mean, especially this last 5 years. I mean, I'm getting worse and worse, and forgetting stuff.
So much research has been done about boxers or just athletes once they leave their respective sports, whatever sport they might be in, and how a lot of them have injuries that have lasted them the rest of their lives. Do you have any injuries like that, or feel any aches or pains physically or mentally from boxing?
I'm starting to feel him now and see him. I mean, just sometimes I feel myself stuttering more, starting to stutter. It was just like I never did that before, or like forgetting stuff that I mean I can understand forgetting stuff that once in a while, but now it's like all the time. I tend to or to be asking my wife or other people, well, when did I do this, or did I say that, or did I do this? That it's sort of embarrassing in a way, but the truth is, I started carrying a little notebook with me to remind myself of things that I have to do because or else I forget. And my wife's the one that tells me, she's like, just write it down. Like the other day I went to the grocery store. I just went for one simple thing. I mean, I feel sorry for the wives that go there and do their, but these are not fighters that do the shopping, the big list. Me, I went to get one thing. And my wife told me, Gabriel, take a little note. And so you remember, I said, no, I'm just going to get one thing. I'll be right back. It was down the street, the supermarket. And as I get there, luckily, I took my phone with me. And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, why did I come here to get? I said, maybe once I walk down aisles, I'll see certain things like, coffee, milk, or whatever, and now it'll come back to me. So I walked around a few times. And it didn't come back to me. I'm like, oh, forget it. I'll just call her with with an excuse. And of course, I called her and I said, hey, did I have to get something else? Like trying to fool her that I forgot. And she's like, because I was saying, do we need something else? So she would say something like, did you get whatever it was? And so she didn't say anything. So I'm like, what did I come to get? I forgot. She goes, oh my God, are you serious? It's like you just let, I understand they say a lot of men do it a lot, but I never used to do it like this. So it's something that I'm starting to see, and actually I've gone to the doctor to do a lot of like MRIs and stuff, so they're going through it. I hope they come out fine, but the results, I don't think they'll be good. I just hope they're not as bad as they could be.
Do you have any aches and pains like headaches, stuff like that?
Yeah, headaches, or like just my body starts aching.
Do you ever feel like numbness in your head?
Numbness, like in my hands, my body, my back hurts a lot, and I'm like, man, I'm only gonna be 42, and I feel like feel a lot older. My doctor told me he was concerned because the way I tell him how I feel, he says that's we're talking about some. I hear that a lot, but I hear it from people that are like 50 or 60 years old, so that I'm pretty concerned about that. So that's why he wanted to do the MRI. We'll see how that goes.
Just overall, I guess, what do you think of boxing?
I mean, I love boxing. It's great, it's a great sport. I do. It's just maybe I don't know what other ways. I think the only way, maybe the only thing they can find to try to make it better is just to find better officials, I guess. Someone maybe the judges, maybe they should make it sort of like if you want to be a judge, you have to be like an ex-fighter where they know what they went through. They know that that they have the experience.
Now it's all said and done, Gabriel. How do you want to be remembered, not just as a boxer, but as a human being by all your fellow friends, family, peers, fans? How does Gabriel Ruelas want to be remembered?
Just a good person. That's all. Just that I was a good person. That's really, I mean, I can't say a good fighter, a great fighter, anything like that, because there's so many. To become a good fighter, it's very hard. Become a champion, it's harder. To become, by all that, it's gone. But to be remembered as a good person, it's not just that's as a person in a whole. That's I like to be just remembered just that people say, hey, that was a nice guy, that was nice. That it's very simple, but it's very. I'm very truthful when I say that. I mean, I really like it. I like to hear that one. And I've heard it a lot of times, and that's why I know that when I'm gone, that's something that I will be proud of. That's all. That I was a good person.
Amen to that. Amen to you. God bless you. But thank you very much for doing this. Thank you for being very honest, straight up. You didn't hold back. You talked about every event there in life, in your career. And I thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Albert. Thank you for this interview. And I'd like to thank all the fans for your support throughout all the years. I appreciate it. Thank you.